field of study itself, chemistry, it's hard to explain to people what they get the chemistry, because then when you're trying to break it down, what exactly is chemistry? It's not like when you say I'm doing law, people know you're going to be a lawyer. You know, with us, it's not like that, really. You can't even say I'm a chemist, because then when you say I'm a chemist, they think you're a pharmacist. So, which is like two different worlds apart. Yeah. So.
Yeah, let's get. When I pull up in the spot, they be asking what I got. Gas for an extra mile, an extra inch for the dot. When I pull up in the spot, better show me what you got. Red beam, headshots, you better give me what you. Yeah, let's get. When I pull up in the spot, they be asking what I got. Gas for an extra mile, an extra inch for the dot. When I pull up in the spot.
Welcome to another smashing episode of Podcast with Soul. My name is Samuel Soul, and on today's episode, we're gonna be having a very special guest, and she goes by the name of Kamogelo. Let's welcome our guest. Welcome to the show, Kamogelo.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. Can you just tell us what Kamogelo Kamang waits
Okay, Kamogelo ki ngwana Motswana. First of all, I am my father's daughter through and through. I am love personified. That's how I'd like to describe myself. I am a very loving person, at least I try to be. I'm one of the kindest people you'll ever meet. And that I know for sure. I'm an emotional being, and I wear my heart on my sleeves. Like if I'm angry, if I'm sad, you will know. So that is Kamogelo, the human being. By profession, I'm a trained organic chemist. I studied chemistry, so I have a P.H.D. in chemistry. I specialize in a field called medicinal chemistry.
Can you just break it down a bit so that people can understand? Because a lot of people, the moment you mention medicine, they always think, doctor Abantu.
Okay, so I'm not a medical doctor though. I'm a doctor because I studied Doctor of Philosophy and Chemistry. So I have a degree, a doctorate degree in chemistry.
So the title is Dr. Kamogelo.
Yes, the title is Dr. Kamogelo. But people who are doctors, like medical doctors, they go to school to study the profession of medicine, right? And I went and studied chemistry. So I have a bachelor, an honors degree, and a master's degree in the field of chemistry. Then I enrolled for a doctorate degree in chemistry. So I'm a doctor of philosophy.
That's quite interesting.
Yes.
That's quite interesting. Very interesting.
Thank
I'm
you.
glad that you actually explained it. The difference between your
It's a challenging thing to explain. I'm a doctor, but not a medical doctor.
But do Bumagogo understand about science?
No, not at all. Even my parents, not even Bumagogo, my parents, they don't. Like, they think we'll get medicine. That's what they think.
And you have to explain every time, no.
I'm not that kind of doctor. I'm not that kind of doctor. Yes, it's a very difficult. Well, even the field of study itself, chemistry, it's hard to explain to people what they get the chemistry, because then when you're trying to break it down, what exactly is chemistry? It's not like when you say I'm doing law, people know you're going to be a lawyer. You know, with us, it's not like that, really. You can't even say I'm a chemist, because then when you say I'm a chemist, they think you're a pharmacist. So which is like two different worlds apart. Yeah. So yeah, I get a lot of that.
But like when the time was did you think you were going to actually study to us?
Sure. I didn't even know what I wanted to be when I grew up. I think I dabbled into a lot of things. One of them being a medical doctor. Actually, I'm going to be. And funny thing is, the idea of me being a medical doctor didn't even come from me in a club of
yeah, well, people, they used to tell us,
he was like, there was a day in particular, Narili go high, go Rustenburg. So my parents batla go Ramogoka start, and then by Banali Mutsi go Lida, which is like a different place. Yes. So Narulko Lidaha, after moving in for Lidaha, like the place was still yes, and then he sat down with me and he was like, do you know why we're so hard on you? Because my dad is a very hard person. Like, if you come with a pass and you got 60, like, why did you get 70? Yeah, he's that hard. So he was sitting and he was talking. He was like, do you know why we're so hard on you? I was like, no. It's like, because they didn't play from you. It's like, we're looking forward to great things from you. It's like, I personally want you to be a doctor. So with my little brain, medical doctor was it.
Yeah, like chemo, you did actually.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I really did.
He's proud of you. Like he's proud of you.
No, he is.
When that person yeah, you should be a doctor. Even though he wanted you to be a medical doctor.
I don't think he wanted me to. He said doctor. I don't think he knew. Like
in your defense, he'd be like,
yeah, but
doctor.
Yeah, I am. You never said which one.
So can you tell us about your childhood, where you grew up?
Okay, childhood. So I was born in Rustenburg. I was born Koramkokastad, right?
Rusty dusty.
It is. I was confused, guys. I mean, the places. Marakoramkoka, like Kigravel Road. So I was born in Koramkokastad, and then my mom moved to Joburg to live with my dad. So I was raised by my grandparents. So I was raised with my cousins.
That sounds pretty dope, eh?
It is. It was hella fun. It was really nice. Cause guys, the things that we got up to. I mean, I was a good child.
Good thing, yeah, you're a good child.
I was a good child. But yeah, when you grow up with your cousins, like let's say in the so it's very nice to grow up in that setup.
Okay. So that's where you grew up?
Yes, that's where I grew up. So I grew up there. Kimo in grade R, Koteng in grade 1. Man. So the school that I went to for grade 1, it was and we had to no study transport. We had to
during those times.
Child. Yo, and it was during the time of corporal punishment, right? So if you late, you get a proper you get a proper whooping. So that was basically my life. And then when I was going to grade 2, that's where my parents took me. Yeah, took a Josie.
Josie Mabone.
Josie Mabone.
At the time, they Mabone, but no. Josie the Kerosene.
Josie, because I'm not.
It's forever dark.
It is forever dark.
So it's
man. Yeah, so we moved here. I moved to Joburg. I mean to Dipswood. That's where, yeah, I came. I don't know which year. Yes. Yeah, but I was going to grade 2, and then
So you went to primary?
Yes, so from grade 2 until grade 7, that is where I was based.
But how was the experience moving from Rusty coming to Dipswood? Because Dipswood is a different setup.
So it was a shock to the system.
Because Dipswood didn't look okay. Let me just put it. More like Minyako, like.
Yo, besides include how feeling to get a tin room, right? Like it's shacks. And I lived in a 2-room shack. So
that's like next door. You those studies and
the more thing so give me kuku. Okay, so my grandmother only 8, right? So she had this big house built for Balabahai, right? So I stayed there for my childhood before I came to Dipswood. And then if you travel like kitchen room so guys this can't be the way of living. Like really people come here for this. So So yeah, it was a proper shock to the system. I knew from the get-go that this is not how people are supposed to live.
Like
yeah, it was a huge shock to my system. But it was home. It was really home. Like my parents made it home. They made it a very warm home.
I guess there's a say that what the building is not the home.
No, it's not.
People
that live in it. They make so yeah, man. I always say growing up in Diepsloot, like Diepsloot, the place Diepsloot, it's like living in two polar points, two polarities. There's the good and the bad, right? So like go hike in a little high, so you felt very safe, you felt very secure. Mara Diepsloot in itself, it's a very rough neighborhood. It's a very rough neighborhood. Like like people are like, okay, this really you? I'm like, yeah. It's like no, I get it because then like like certain times we're going through because there's corners there. If you can fit that you might get marked or something. So you grow up knowing such things.
It becomes a problem, eh? But then you went to high school. Was it around Diepsloot or it was outside Diepsloot?
So I went to ST St. Ansgar's. That's how we used to call it.
Yeah, I was actually waiting for you to say that.
St.
Ansgar's.
Yes, St. Ansgar's. SPKA.
And it was actually outside Kasa,
yeah, but it also gave us that thing, St. Ansgar's, in a little St. Stelian, St. what. Like people take you seriously when you sound from St. Ansgar's.
I said to go back.
Yes, and the school itself. But I think it was a great school.
It was actually.
It was. It's one of the good schools.
It produced a lot of good people.
Yes, absolutely. So I went to. So from grade 8 to grade 12, I was at St. Ansgar's.
But like, how was it growing around? Growing like the challenges, the high rate of crime, teenage pregnancy. There's just a whole lot of things that are happening.
Oh, preach. Absolutely. Growing up in Diepsloot, you as a child, right? You constantly have to remind yourself of who you are and why you're here as a child, because it's very easy for you to fall into the norm of what's happening.
Yeah, because
it's very easy for you to fall into the norm of what's happening. It's very easy because guys, poverty is real in Diepsloot. It's real.
Yeah, it is.
So it's very easy for when I, as a girl child, it's like if I age you, then right? So those things are very they're real, and the quick solutions are more apparent than the real solutions. Like it's easy for one generally takes a driver because this driver right? Than for one to think of other ways to make money. Like the quick solutions, demo, like readily available. So that's the experience. There was a lot of teenage pregnancy growing up. There were a lot of people from primary, and that's the thing. It's like people think maybe it's from high. No, it's from primary. Yeah, from primary. There are a lot of kids they fall pregnant very early on. There was a lot of domestic violence, a lot of gender-based violence. I grew up, like I said, so it's couples. Like my kid next door, guys. This kid in the same yard, Gimme Kuku in the same yard. And there were a lot of couples guys. Like people throw fists. Sometimes the premise door for
and every time you try to sleep, you're like,
it wasn't a mess.
And in the morning we'll tell
it's Joe, because those are people that you also look up to because they're your elders. So that wasn't my experience of growing up in Diepsloot. But to be honest, my parents really tried to make it a whole. Not to say that my parents were perfect, they had their own issues. They really tried to make it a whole. They really did. At Kohai, it was a very joyous home.
Even for Kero I play outside, it's another thing.
My dad was Guerana. My dad operana. So keep it all on the jobs.
You forget about a lot of things.
Yeah, you do. Like like you stress you end up laughing even if I would say that's the kind of home that I grew up in.
Yeah, it's actually a pretty good home.
Yeah.
It's actually pretty good.
Yes.
But then because Tips was not really at the time, it was not really exposed to a lot of things.
Yes.
Career-wise, I think a lot of people just decided based on what's available for them.
Yes.
But for you, like what made you when you decided to actually, this is the lane that I want to study, this is what I want to do. Besides your dad telling you, you're gonna be a doctor.
Okay, so
I don't know, you have those moments where you have to decide. You'll be like, should I take the path that my father puts a guy on, or
no, I definitely knew I wasn't gonna be a doctor. I definitely knew. Like a medical doctor. I knew I wasn't going to be a medical doctor. Because one, it's how much disqualified. From the get-go, it was like, yeah, this is not gonna be me. I didn't know what I wanted to do. Like to go and study. However, I loved science. I love maths and science was my thing. And sure, yeah.
But wasn't it challenging because a lot of schools back then, they didn't have a whole lot of things. They didn't even have the labs.
Okay, so sure. Let's take it back to. So when you get to grade 10, grade 11, right? Grade 10, you have to choose the stream. Science goes with geography, and then there's accounting, and then history, right? So I chose science because, like,
it's what you love.
First of all, we had a terrible accounting teacher. Like, once, and that was it. I was like, I'm not coming. I'm not about to be beaten up for things sexuality. Yes. And then history, niggas moved to history. So I chose science. So we had, I would say, a very passionate science teacher, physics teacher. He was a very passionate physics teacher. He only taught physics. And physical science comes with physics and chemistry. So he only taught physics. And the way he would go about it, this guy, he would come the day before one test or an exam. So the whole year, there's some moon. And then the day, it's about, okay. And he would come and then teach us physics.
Then what about the chemistry part?
No chemistry. Nothing at all. So this is grade 10, grade 11. This was the setup. And then when we got to grade 12, Bachencha teacher, right? And then Batlisa, a teacher by the name of Mr. Maswera. I think it's Maswera, that's how he used to pronounce his name, but it's written Maswera, right? Okay, so he's from Zimbabwe, he's Shona. Man, that teacher, I don't know where he is. Like today, I still want to thank him. We had a tagline, yes we can, like Obama, yeah, yes we can, yeah. Yes, and that was yes we can pass this matric, yes. He was the first teacher ever to take us seriously. Because governments, I don't know, like especially the no-fee government schools, vibes. Yeah, they're just coming in to get the salary and getting out.
With them, nobody's got TikTok.
Yeah, they generally don't care. Yeah, they don't care. They don't care. They don't care about the craft they're doing. They don't care about the kids that they're teaching. And I'm not saying it's all. That there are good teachers. There are really good teachers who actually do that work. But it's very few teachers, and that is sad because we need more, particularly in the government system. We need more of those teachers. So this man, he I think from the get-go, he practically understood that we have no basic knowledge of physics. We have no basic knowledge of chemistry. So this is what he used to do. Dude, yo, I don't really so we didn't do things practically as science students. We didn't do them practically. We did them theoretical. So for biology, if they're talking about a microscope, we wanna go booking and that's it. So like physics and chemistry, they have a lot of practicals. They have a lot of we would do them, and this were assignments for marks, guys. So you're supposed to do them practically and then write a report about them. We used to do them theoretically, like, okay, so if you were to do this, this is what would happen. That's basically
that was tough.
Yeah, so that was my experience of schooling. But this teacher, this particular teacher, Mr. Maswera, he took our class, and when he taught like physics, he would start physics at grade 10. If he taught,
and that's time in grade 12.
In grade 12. So if he's teaching you, if he's teaching you chemistry, he will start the chemistry at grade 12. But I was fortunate, guys. You know, like sometimes you also have to count your blessings. I was fortunate. We had this initiative, Koskolo Sarona, where you had to write a test. I think grade 12. You had grade 10. You had to write a test in grade 10, and you are selected based on your marks to attend school. So you'd attend like Saturday classes, go Monash University. So that's where I got like the fundamentals of physics and chemistry. So that
they have the resources to enough money to actually.
Yeah, they had people coming to teach us grade 10 physics, grade 10. So I was always ahead of my class. Ahead in a sense that like if it's a curriculum in grade 10, none of us would go Saturday school. Whereas my class most of them so I had the upper hand like that. So I was most fortunate in that sense. But now I had people teaching me, whereas nobody taught them.
And you get to know a lot of things before this.
Yeah, I was always ahead of the curriculum. I was always ahead of it because of, and imagine like this is Saturday classes. You are at school Monday to Friday. You know nothing. Saturday actually makes
more. Few hours. It's like what? A 2-hour class.
Yeah, it wasn't a lot. No, yeah, they covered a lot. Yes.
But do you think that while we're at that, do you think that education system like the government is actually failing?
You know what? I think that policies that are there, I think it's the implementation of policies that is probably not working out as well as. I think our curriculum is, we have probably one of the best curriculums in the world. So if you say the government is failing, is it the government or
is
people
it the
who are supposed to? Yeah, it's the person who's supposed
so you feel like the teachers that we have, they're not taking anything seriously?
I don't think they are. No, I don't think they are. Particularly those who work for government. I don't think they are. And I'm not saying keep on about boldly. Because there are people who are actually doing their work and and maybe we should have I think in the schooling system, like we shouldn't have a situation where the principal is teaching or the deputy principal is teaching.
Every school's like that.
Yeah, because I think when you have a principal teaching and the deputy principal teaching, like all those admin people teaching, then the admin takes priority over the teaching. Which is, then it means the students, the learners that are suffering because they don't have that situation. Because our maths teacher in grade 12 was a deputy principal, and he didn't have time. Mara una supplement, so we do classes in the afternoon.
Which is you could be in the afternoon, you could be doing other things.
Yeah, so after school, that's where we had maths. And sometimes it wasn't him. He actually had something to help us out. But at least, okay, because I'm not here, this is what we're going to do. Right?
But still, I feel like the system it's not really working.
It's not. I think if somebody's a deputy principal, let them be a deputy principal. Let them handle the admin part of things. Yes, don't. If it's teaching, maybe a teacher like grade 12s or grade 10s or like maybe like a specific class. Let it not be a teacher from grade 8 to grade 10. Because sometimes that's the expectation and the workload becomes too much for them to even handle
But also, the other question that I wanted to ask, since you mentioned that your grade 12 teacher,
Mr. Masuya.
Yeah, he's Shona, right?
Yes.
Do you think that teachers from outside the country, in South Africa, they become serious, or is it because of their education system? Because most of them, when they come and they teach things like physics, your math, and all these other subjects, students, they do understand much better than what teacher can say.
Until you experience something for yourself, you never really know. So I can't really comment on the quality. But I do think, look guys, even South African teachers, we have good quality teachers. Because...
But out of 10, it's like what?
We do have good quality. Just apply yourself. That's what I'm saying. Apply yourself. I don't think they apply themselves so much so to make sure that the kid understands what they're saying. Because I remember we had a geography teacher. So, geography in grade 10, and I think she was promoted. So then they had to bring another person. And the substitute teacher, guys, Unanga textbook, notes, and then she would go. If you say, okay, ma'am, can you please explain? She's like, these are my ideas, come up with yours. And it's like, okay. First of all, I don't understand what you've written.
Like, what's going on here?
I don't understand what you've written. And now I have to come up with my own ideas. What ideas? I have no idea of what you just taught me. How am I going to come up with something else? So it's also that thing, they didn't care enough to apply themselves to an extent where what I'm teaching and what they're learning, there's a merging point where I'm teaching but they are understanding. There's no that,
It becomes a problem because I've also noticed that the teachers are old. It's like the parliament. You get there, you get some old madala there, but it's a computer teacher, but it doesn't even know how to use computer.
Yes. Oh yeah, that's the other thing I wanted to say.
And
because they know
what's happening there.
Yes. That's the other thing. Like you find a teacher is not knowledgeable. When I say use the word knowledgeable in the subject that they're teaching.
Yeah.
So for instance, if the person is teaching, let's say maths or whatever, and you give them the question paper, they are reliant or the answer sheet that they get because they don't know how to. Yeah, so that's the other part is, do we have teachers like maths teachers teaching maths? Are they qualified in that area? Are they trained in that area? Right? So maybe that's also something we could look at. Or my teacher teaching specific subjects because they went to school for the subject. Yeah.
Because I think with the other countries, they do that.
Yeah.
They do that. You find what's about like physics.
Fair.
That's me teacher.
Yeah.
No,
but I get it. Like if we have a shortage, and then
that's basically. It's like everything in this country. It's always that. Well, that's basically. I also questioned our health system. I actually wanted to ask you some question about our health system. What do you think about our health system?
I think we have the best health system in the world, guys.
But
we do have the best systems in the world.
Then what's the problem?
Tell me any country and you can get like one of the best surgeries, go a public hospital.
Well, I think, but with the South African hospitals, it seems like
it's overburdened.
Budget thing already.
Give it a go government. I can say
But I think budget thing.
You think? It's an assumption.
But I think.
I'm sure budget the thing.
No, but people are thing, but.
Okay, so
you're saying that we have the best health and
systems in the world, right? Yes.
But my thing is that why does it seem like we have the worst? Because a lot of people are complaining, especially when it comes to
I think service in itself is low, not really bad, it's slow based on the number of people that they have. Like, I'll give you an example. When I gave birth to my first daughter, I went to a government hospital, right? And I was I was overdue, so it wasn't motivating. It was just that the gestation time had passed. Yes, so I had to be induced. And I remember them saying, "Why don't you go home? Because no, listen, your case is not an emergency. So why don't you go home? Because but then it's like, okay, what if something happens to the baby? Right? But you also have to understand the conditions that they're working on. Because some people have it's an emergency. So when now you're not you are pushed back, and this person is prioritized.
And also know Dr. Sister Rebecca lunching and I'm not this people in time.
It wasn't, guys. It wasn't how Sister Rebecca was lunching. It was because they had fewer hands and a lot of people to take care of.
Fewer hands because Sister Rebecca's not there. She's outside. But you're inconvenient.
No, I thought well in the health system. No, like we do get incidences like that where somebody goes, "Oh, this is my lunch break," but are people not allowed to have lunch and eat?
We're not saying that they're not allowed, but they're forever on lunch. You go home affairs, forever lunch. One day you want to talk about traffic department active if my is an operator or the one. Ladies us, they're forever on. Don't
I think SARS is better because
but these other ones, they're forever on lunch.
Home affairs, child, yo. If like my advice to anyone is, if you could avoid home affairs,
there's no way.
Do it. If you could, then choose.
There's a new system that I've actually you apply online.
Yeah.
It's much better. You book an appointment, you get there. There's no lines.
Oh, that's
but if you just walk in, like say walk in.
Yeah. Give my tag.
Becomes a problem.
No, home affairs, I've experienced. And then like when you finally at the front, they're like, "Oh, system."
That's
like,
oh. How offline?
It's offline.
It's like.
Yes, no,
I think we kind of experience those problems as a country.
Yes.
But when do you think the country in the next 5 years are we gonna be in the Zimbabwe, like we're gonna be the next Zimbabwe, or we're gonna be?
A lot of people have invested in South Africa, so I don't think the global companies. It's an international company. We have many pharmaceutical companies that have invested in South Africa. I don't think they would let it go there. Bank system. If they let it break, the business is gone. Basically.
But even in Zimbabwe, they have the same setup. They had a whole lot of international companies at the time before they were told that they must leave.
Sure. Hey, you know what, guys? What I have realized, particularly because I work at a university, is that we produce a lot of graduates.
Me too.
So we produce a lot of knowledge. And I know that people will be like, because they graduate and they don't find jobs, right? But what do you think is going to happen if those graduates decide to create their own jobs? Yes. And individuals, the history of South Africa from apartheid, you can see that there are lots of individuals who are willing to fight for this country. And I know personally that I want to fight for the country with the little knowledge that I have, contribute to the economy of this country.
They're willing to fight for this country as long as the bag is enough.
Hey, it's a selfish way of looking at things. It's a selfish way of looking at things. Because, I mean, people who died, what compensation did they get?
Nothing. Nothing. But there are those who got some.
Yeah, there are those who benefited, but a lot didn't get anything. And you have to realize that in any battle, in any war, if there's an end goal, yes, there will be casualties. But you have to think about the bigger picture. What are you doing it for? If you're doing it for your own self-benefit, then hey, I don't know, because everybody will be eating money, corruption will be skyrocketing.
Just like what's happening now.
Because everybody's just in it for themselves. But if the movement is to move towards building the economy of this country, then everybody has to fall into that vision and that dream.
which is there.
This is why I believe that we need a leader who is a visionary, but the vision has to be.
But I get to me. I won't mention his name, but to me, like it.
This is what I'm gonna say. Cyril Ramaphosa is probably one of the best presidents we have. Mara, we are yet to be exposed to his vision for this country. That's what I'm gonna say. We are yet to be exposed. We don't know what it is.
He doesn't have a vision.
You don't know that. What was the point of being a president? I think every vibes. It can't just be all about vibes, guys. Like when you are in a place of power, you really have to you really have to ask yourself the question of, one, the people that I'll be leading, why would they follow me to begin with? You have to really ask yourself the question. We're not blindly led here, but you have to ask yourself that question. And two, if we are going to follow you as our leader, like Urisa guy, where are you leading us to?
What do I think about South Africans?
Yes.
Mojoa, follow. Where there's money, we follow. We don't care what Urisa thing, as long as there's money, we're gonna follow it. Because well, certainly yes. For now, I feel like it doesn't have. He was all talk, no action.
You know what?
What's a smart city?
No, I hear you.
1 million.
This is what you have to understand. A few months into his presidency, COVID hit.
That's not an excuse.
I'm not saying it's an excuse. No president, more South Africa, like I'm talking like from Mandela. I don't want to refer to people that were here when I was not even yet. No president has ever experienced that. Like Ukena and then Ziakala.
Let's go back a bit. So we were talking about how the Kolo, they were not really well equipped, right?
Yes.
When you got to varsity, how was it, man? Like,
disaster.
You never see the microscope.
Disaster. So I remember I was at a biology class, lab, and we're supposed to view something underneath the microscope, right?
And we're not going to view a micro or for someone to report.
We just want to go bouquet. Like that's as far as it went. Go bouquet. Okay, so and then you're supposed to focus the microscope and then view whatever is underneath. And one, I don't know how to use this thing.
But we went from the book,
I saw it from the book, but next I didn't know how to operate it. I didn't know how to focus. Like I didn't know. So I remember the TA coming to me and it was like, why are you not writing? Why are you just sitting there? And I was like, oh, I've never used. No, I told her, I was like, I've never used the microscope. I don't know what to do. Right? And everybody next to me,
it was shocked.
Never busy the focusing. And yeah. So the people around me then, what they used to do during the lab, they would help me out. They would focus the microscope for me so that I can work. Or they would be like, oh look, Sheba. Yeah.
This is how we do it.
Yes.
Man.
Yes.
And you call it
yeah.
Hustle, man.
And you know the thing about it is sometimes it's not that the equipments are not there. It's just that they're not being used. Yeah. It's not that the idea is that they're not being used. Maybe it's because the teacher didn't ask what it is. I don't know, but they're not being used.
I think during those time, but now it's much better. They will hire there were no young teachers. Now at least this is my teacher. No, she's my age. She's not that old. But back then you find somebody who's old. You can't even use phone sharp. So you can't expect Mutolore. Because I remember my computer teacher. I put that computer as paid. Like that's how they could was.
I don't necessarily think it's bad for a teacher to teach somebody something in their own language. I actually think it's a great thing because
it is, well, to a certain extent, but there's certain things you are worrying about.
How did it disadvantage you that you were taught in Sibek?
In the computer?
Yes.
Well, for other people it did. For me personally, because I can speak Spanish, it's okay. It was okay. Just imagine a Zulu speaking person.
Oh, because there were too many people.
Yeah.
Like not.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then you find a Zulu person, but they don't understand the whole. That was the problem. from. I wonder if it was like confident understand the same language. It was
Yes.
Because I think we had this conversation earlier that if kids were taught in their own language,
Yeah.
they were gonna understand a lot of things.
Yes.
Just that I get everybody like us translating what's on what.
Yeah. I mean, look, if I'm speaking to you, that's paid, right?
Yeah.
It's easy for you to understand what kids are more going.
My brain won't have to work too much.
No, if I'm trying to teach you a concept in a language that you don't know, first you have to understand the language.
It's a process,
Right. And then you have to understand the language. So for some people, because now it's like saying, I'm trying to understand what you're saying, what you're trying to say to me. Have you ever spoken to somebody also in language or it's about?
Yeah, I don't level so imagine.
Like, you know, so first you have to understand the language that they're trying to say, and then now you have to understand the concept that they're trying to teach you.
And which is takes time to process information.
It takes time. It takes longer.
Also processing but on another chapter. Like
yeah, because one move of this person, I mean, it's not like whoever to know.
But I feel like they're not being fair because they can translate things into different. Bible translate all the languages. But when it comes to education, like English, Afrikaans.
Joe, I think this is why universities are moving towards what we call transformation. I don't know if it will get to the point where that they are what's the word that you used? Translating. I don't think it's gonna get to the point where they're translating the curriculum to the language, like giving maybe like a chemistry course to a course taught in Setswana. I don't know how long that would take. I don't know, but I think they are slowly moving towards that, and it's something that I actually did when I was teaching. When I taught our black guys Kimotwana, I can speak, I can understand Sepedi, I can understand Sesotho.
But when I never understand that,
I can understand Sizulu, right? Like Changani, but like it touch and go. The principle that I was trying to teach them is that don't be afraid to ask me a question or to interact with me in a different language. Like you can, if I don't understand it, I'll ask somebody to interpret it for me, right? So that is what I was trying to do on a personal level. But I know that it's
and
sort
it did
of like,
work, right?
It did, because I know for sure that the reason why I sat in class without understanding anything and decided to say, hey, I don't understand
It's okay.
it was because like language, you have to ask the question in English. So and let's say
That's the problem.
so now you and you have to go.
The next thing you're like, that's me.
Guys. So yeah, you have to construct this question in English. You don't know the language, you have to find the way. Sometimes it's just too much of a burden for a student to ask the question, because like, yo, Kotoma guy, go like Rona is but Makua sometimes are intimidating Corona, you know. And university, most lectures are white. Yeah, so now you have to talk to this white person. You know,
you like,
yes,
this guy saying,
yo, that self-doubt of Kotoma guy to construct a question that he will understand in this language.
And everybody else, I guess it's gonna be,
you know,
because
accent play effect. Yeah, so when I was a lecturer, I made sure that they were very comfortable to say, if Zulu, ask me a question in Zulu. If I don't understand, I'll ask you like supporting question to get to where are we going with this question.
But that was pretty dope.
Yeah, that's what I did.
But you still do it now, or?
I'm no longer a lecturer, guys.
What happened? So you just decided?
My contract ended.
Oh, okay.
I didn't decide. You can't decide to stop.
Maybe like
you can't.
But no. The man so good.
No. I had lovely students. They know what they came here for. You have to be serious.
Charles, you rethink your life. Like,
oh, so yeah, Shapa, you can't be here and playing games. No. And the science course is expensive. It's expensive. It's expensive. So you can't afford to low fit like no. So yeah, like. But there'll always be the 1, 2 but generally I had really brilliant kids. I did, and I knew I had brilliant kids, and I knew I was doing a right thing, because one, I had lots of people coming to consult.
Oh yeah, because it means you're doing the right things. Yeah,
I knew okay, probably I'm doing the right thing, because my door was always open to people coming in to consult. So I knew okay, there's something right. There's a certain level of comfort that they had to come to me to say, I don't understand this, can you help me out? So I knew okay, I'm on the right track. Yeah,
that's great.
So I don't know if I was in matric or something there. We went to a camp. I was selected. I don't want to say I'm smart, guys.
But you are. You are, actually, you are.
I don't want to use that language. I don't want to say I'm smart, because I feel like that idea, that concept, like somebody might say, but I'm not smart. I didn't grow up thinking I'm smart. That's the thing that people don't get. Like, I actually thought I was an idiot.
But they say that a lot of professors don't think that.
Yeah, I genuinely did. Because, man, I had to work hard. I had to work hard to understand things.
Okay.
Like maths, guys. I practice maths every day. So it wasn't like, okay, Unduta something got saying then.
Like
I got it. No, I went home and did my homework and practiced. That's what I did. Like
but
physics.
you end up like understanding it, right?
Maths was easier for me to understand in comparison to other things. But I wasn't like sharp in terms of, like when they don't even have to study, they just go and write. I'm not one of those. I just work hard. That's how I view it.
But that one it works till to a certain point. You have to just be like, I got it. When you get to varsity, console child, you can't be like, I got it. And tomorrow you come there, they're like, hey, dude, did you even study?
Okay.
Yeah, they're like, oh, no.
Okay. Oh, you crack me up. So I went to this camp, and they had a motivational speaker with them.
Okay.
And this motivational speaker taught me the power of manifestation. So what he did was, it was sort of like a workshop, and he was like, breathe in, breathe out, close your eyes, breathe in, breathe out. And then he's like, think about one goal, just one, right? Think about it. What's the goal, right? For me, I think it was passing-metric. The goal was passing-metric. And then he goes, I want you to think about the environment that you're in when you achieve the goal. I think about the weather. Is it sunny? Is it hot? Is it whatever? Right? So visualize it. Visualize yourself.
I hope you didn't visualize tips today.
No, my vision was very easy. I can't make my passing-metric. So my vision was I'm working, go ST.
Oh, that's much better.
I'm working, go ST, I'm collecting my statement, and I see the results of my matric. It's like visualize the goal, visualize you achieving the goal, right? So I saw myself seeing my matric pass it. But on the vision, the thing that I was very specific about was the marks.
Yeah, obviously.
The marks, right? But you look at yourself and you're like, maths, 8.
Or you like,
physics, physics. I'm listening. I can't imagine. Listen, when you're visualizing, it's still you.
Yeah, but you like,
because you know you, right?
Like 80, I can kick it.
Yeah, well, I was like 60. I was realistic. You know, like yes. And guess what? One of those marks are the marks I got for my matric.
But good to law of attraction.
Yeah. And think about imagine had I aimed for higher. Imagine had I aimed for higher. I would have gotten more. More. So I was kicking myself after 2 distinctions, got matric thinking, Mugeli, who could have done better than this man?
At least there were 2. Yeah.
At least there were 2. But I thought to myself, like, that 60 that you imagine for physics, imagine if you said 80, 90, or 100. Like, imagine. Because the person was saying, think, visualize. It wasn't do. It was think, visual. So this is before you even do it.
Before you even try.
But even in the thinking, I still limited myself. Even in the dreaming, I still limited myself.
I don't want 60. I want 100.
Dude.
100.
But like,
they already remember that shit.
I see it after.
Ciao, let me just be safe.
Be safe. Just about myself. Yes. But after the fact, after I got my results, I was there like, think about what could have happened if you had visualized 100 in maths and 90 in physics. You know?
And you could have achieved those.
Exactly. So this was like, yeah, but that was a good learning lesson. Okay.
At least the time when you were visualizing that you didn't put gas or issue.
Why gas?
You know, you start visualizing gas, you remember, but there's a guy will come out to like say 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
And then
yeah.
Start thinking,
and then that is the dream. Hey, Montana Caucasian, they slept. Now they slept.
Then you forget about
everything else. Focus on what happened? But there was an error at the chicken dust. Dude.
That used to make nice.
Dude. Not 50 cents. I don't know what happened to those. Yeah. So that was matric. I remember the day I got, the day the results were released. Hey, guys. So I think we were the second group where our results came in Jan and not in December.
Those ones.
And then with DJ's boo, I'm putting you on blast, is here telling the world got December, how people got distinctions and he's giving bursaries and all. And my parents are like, come here. The result is we're now offensive.
But we haven't changed that name. Or we still about why?
Because now you're lying. You're lying.
We're gonna let you slide. It's December.
Yes.
We're not gonna spoil fine.
You know, Mama, don't say it. Yes. So we were. I think the first group, Nelia, 2008. I matriculated in 2009. So I think we were the second group where the results. Yes. Oh, child. As I'm came out. Because people are getting result when
and it was called a simulator.
And I'm like, and it was the time where the government had this system where you can get your results phone. So I'm like, no, can't get registered. You're lying. So the day the results actually came out, I was writing something called a national benchmark test. I was writing an exam, child, the day.
Yeah.
You know how people wake up early in the morning, excited, or Nicholas stressing, thinking about this test.
I forgot about the result.
I know they were coming out on the same day, but I didn't
pay much attention to it.
I had no time to care because I was stressing about this test. And my dad took me to write the national benchmark test. And I don't know, honestly, I think I had to pass to go enrollment center before I went to write the test because there was something I needed to sign. and my dad go vets banality newspaper, and they normally, especially go environment centers, they I don't know if they're sold or they're just put there. So my dad came with the newspaper and he was so happy. And then, no, now I'm like, hey dude, test it. I have to go. So I went and I wrote that test, and then I came back with him, and it started setting in. Pasiti, and people were calling distinction, because I think if you got a distinction notarized style, something like, yes, what is distinction? So I was like, really? Yeah, hey guys, they should go away. They can't tell you newspaper, guys. No, you can't, because and West, they even write the school. So I think before they used, I don't know if they used to write the whole, like Nebala Walaka fail and list you alphabetical. Now they write the school. So if you're not at your school, they're like, calling the off. So I went metric, then I got my acceptance letter of it. And so acceptance letter, there is now post office. So Mutona post office came on. So she's the one who got the letter and then brought it to us, right? And yo, that must have been the hardest moment of my life then.
How so?
Cause the news got out that I got accepted for vets before I could even tell people.
Anyone?
Yeah, the news got out.
It's families, you know.
Right. And I'm not saying that she's the one. I think she was excited. She probably told people.
Yeah, out of excitement.
Out of excitement.
Just people that just took it and got to like.
Yo, the which it's still bitter in my heart, and I still keep asking God, would you want to give that Utoya young of it Asogola? How will I go to it? How will I pay? People
can be heartless, man.
People can be heartless, right? And the person who said the words, people who are very close to me, people who I thought would be rooting for me. But anyways, and I remember my mom sitting me down after the acceptance letter and after everything that was happening, and she was like, "How about Uchuza scholar cheap?" And I know where that was coming from her. It was that she didn't want to see me getting disappointed because of her financial standing, right?
And also proving the family member right, or we couldn't.
Yeah. And I just looked at her and I was like, Mom, we're gonna be fine. But that it was also because she was never the plan. Guys, she was never the plan from my side. Like I knew that I knew personally they can't do that. I knew.
Parents they think I had to.
Yeah, shame.
They think you don't know, and you know like shame. And you had like but.
I know. I don't think she thought I didn't know. I think she knew that I knew because I was the one helping her draft the budget. So I knew situations so. But she was never the plan to fund my fees anyways. So I went to VITS, and then that 2010, that's where I started my first year. Welcome. So
I want the vibes.
So
going to school.
People are not going to school. So we stopped school 30th May, I think, and we stayed until July, after the World Cup.
July, not August.
It was July after the World Cup.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And during that period, they were like, the body let's go there.
One thing about such people, they don't think, hey, my mom will not have good TV players, Colombia, I'm not born.
June, July, right? And then I went back to school after the World Cup ended. But it's also like in life, you have to realize the people that are surrounding you, family, friends, neighbors, whatever, people you think are going to root for you.
They don't actually.
There are people who are going to be there to be obstacles. They're going to be people who chip.
Downfall.
Yeah, they would chip at your confidence. They are the people who plant those words of insecurities. They are the people, give honor, right? Because like I'm at University of Witwatersrand, they're well off. So when somebody say, what do you think it's doing to me psychologically?
Now it's starting to.
It hits.
And you also focus on what you're studying. You
no.
Be like, what's gonna happen?
Right? Yeah, because when there were those men so yeah, Mara, we bereki seats and then and now you don't have somebody to call to say, hey, listen, get your chapter teacher. Yeah, so those are the obstacles that I faced when I was in varsity. And I think the biggest one that people don't even watch out for is what university does to you psychologically.
Yeah, that one
it's mentally.
They never talk about it.
Testing. It's mentally more than anything. Yes, you go. It's great. You study, but it challenges you intellectually. It challenges you psychologically. And for me, that was a big part of my journey academically. I had to be challenged psychologically. There were I would say demons that I had to fight to say I am worthy, I'm good enough, I deserve to be here. There were those moments where you're like, what's the point?
It's fine.
And it actually did happen. It did.
When you decided that you
I was gonna deregister. It did. There was a day I remember I had been in multiple taxi accidents. So nigga traveler from Beds to Deep Street.
Every day,
yeah. So it was gonna be quite expensive. So I was like, okay, Joburg is not that far. I can travel. So I traveled, and the taxi guys was like, so you, even though the accidents were not major, they were very minor. I think they impacted me. They impacted me. So I remember there was this time I got into a taxi with this loud piece and we got into a taxi and it hit me. Like, the moment just hit me like, what's the point of this? How many taxi accidents are you gonna get into until you die trying to fight for an education? Like really yo,
question a lot of things.
Dude, like really, yeah, you do. You question, it's like like quit, go find a job. You'd be useful if you are useful to my parents, if I'm working and I'm earning a salary. I'm like Mona, like wow, stress every day, like whatever, but like, you know, so it hit me and I went home and I remember I cried like and then I was sitting at the table cooking. So I used to use the table to study. And I sat there with my books and I started bawling, like I cried. And my dad walked and Sheva, and then I feel like go to no, I shot at mama. Like I didn't say anything to him, but he thought maybe my mom did something. Yeah, mama was like, hey, you did not. So nobody knew what was going on with me. And then I slept that night, decided that I'm gonna quit school. Decided I decided I'm gonna quit school. I'm done.
I stopped thinking about it.
No, I decided when I'm gonna quit school. I didn't tell anybody because I was like, if I tell somebody, they're gonna talk me out of it.
Obvious.
They're gonna talk me. They're gonna come here. They're like, you are second year, next year we're paid. Like I'm not gonna tell anybody. I'm just gonna deregister. So I told her saying, I called a taxi, and then next to me, remember I told you that I was in a taxi the day before with the loudmouth speaking. The loudmouth sits next to me. guy talks. He's very nice. He's very nice. I'm Kimani Mutu guys like right, and he sits next to me, he greets me. I say hello, Kishaba Kwente. Like go taxi Shabako window Kwente. Like to avoid, it's like I don't want to talk to you, my guy. I don't want to talk to you. And he keeps talking. Like I said, I'm very kind, so I'm not gonna let you talk by yourself. I'm too kind. Like you feel uncomfortable when somebody's talking to me, and I'm like. So I started chatting with him. I started talking to him. I still don't remember what that guy said, even today. But he talked me out of doing this time. He really did.
So if you like
no. We're gonna keep fighting.
We're gonna continue this fight.
Yes. And from that experience I learned that God knows. Whatever you're going through, that you think that there was no way that guy could have known what I was gonna do.
Yeah.
There was no way. I didn't know him. I had never spoken to him. Yo, dude. Mara, whatever he said, and literally we're still good friends. I still ask him, what did you say? He's like, I don't remember. I'm like, you are God sent and you don't even realize. Because I had made up my mind. And those who know me know that if I make up my mind, it's very hard for somebody to convince me otherwise.
And you've already, not to approve right, the other family.
I didn't care. At that point, I didn't care. I didn't care. It was like, I didn't care. It was like, Joe, I'm done with this thing. And that's where I realized, whatever you're going through, God knows. And sometimes, people say, Mudimu tusa, way tusa. No.
A lot of people don't understand that verse.
No. People like Mudimu doesn't need somebody to achieve his mandate. He's too powerful to. No, you don't even need to do anything. He will send somebody to do it for you. And that is basically what I learned from that situation. Because guys, that day. No, yeah, I was done. Yes, I was done.
But here we are.
Here we are.
And we're not done.
Here we are.
Continue the fight.
Yes, you have to. You have to continue with the fight. You have to. You can't give up. You generally can't give up. You can't. And that's basically what I did. I kept fighting. I kept pushing.
Because a lot of people get to a point where you feel like, you know what, it's okay, then we give up.
Yeah. No,
we start blaming a lot of things, the system.
Yeah.
The gods, what?
You can't.
This car.
And it's very easy to blame everybody and everything, right? So when I graduated for my degree, my parents came to my graduation. And my dad saw Batwa very red during the graduation, the doctorate, and he's like, I want to see you wearing that.
And the pressure. Yeah, I want
to see you wearing that. My mom's like, get, turn to me, Verega. My mom is here like, And honestly, after completing my master's, so I did my honors, after degree I did my honors. And then I did my master's. So after completing my master's, I fell pregnant. And Linda was like, guys, I'm not talented. So I left to go work. A year later, I called. I was like, I'm going back to pursue this thing, And to be honest, financially, it wasn't the right decision.
To actually go back.
To go back. I've got responsibilities. And when you start working, these responsibilities, right? Yeah, so I had those responsibilities and I'm going back to school, basically. And I stipend again. So I go back, but there was also this push to go back to it. When I applied to go to varsity in 2010, I had this 2009, I had this push to apply to VET. And I didn't understand
what was going on.
What was the push? Because I didn't apply everywhere else. I didn't apply.
VET's fail.
Yes. VET's fail.
I was like, nah,
there was this push to apply, and when I went to get the application form, Kikapila, a good friend of mine, because it was during the time the hard copy. It was before online, so you had to fill in the forms and then return them. So Kapila get this friend, and I applied. There was this push back then to go to VETS. So even when I was coming back to do my PhD, there was this push to go to VETS, and I didn't understand it. Second year of my PhD, I get the post, an associate lecturer, and it finally made sense.
You know, sometimes we intend to not make sense.
Yeah.
But we didn't know sense.
Yeah.
Like someone they're gonna end up with the Kakan.
Yeah.
I feel low.
Yeah. And I remember.
And that's when you're like, damn.
Yeah, I remember I had to lecture. Go C9. C9 is lecture hall. My first lecture, first day of university, was my lecture was go C9. And I remember when I was standing there and I wanted to cry. And you know, like, you have to keep it together because now, girl, you can't be crying. Emotionally, and I wanted to cry because I was like, okay, God, what a full circle moment. Yeah. Full circle moment.
But it's always like that.
Yeah, full. It made sense. I was like, okay.
Yeah. It's a cycle. It goes like this. When you think, you can't. At the other end, it's going to come there.
No. Yeah, God knows. And in the moment, you might feel like,
that's fine.
But there's always a plan that you don't have preview to, because that's how God works.
Yeah, but then you can be preview.
Hey, then you can, because sometimes, like, imagine had I given up, right? Imagine had I deregistered, right? Be like, Father God, do this.
Like, wait, can I come back? Don't make a mistake.
Preview is me wearing a red gown.
Yeah, like
preview is me wearing, but I couldn't see it then because
it's showing.
Yeah,
it's life. That's how life is.
That's how life is.
You fight in life.
Yeah, you fight. You have to fight, particularly when you come from a place like this.
Yeah,
because
you fight so many
there's
things.
So many things telling you can't.
Even the environment itself.
Yeah, there's so many things that are telling you that you can't.
And you want to
yeah.
And you're like,
what's the point?
He was better than me.
Yeah.
So it means I also won. But
yeah,
it's not like that.
No, it's not. And Lohana, success is not instant. Wabana, like you say, I'll share you like my story. Like currently, I'm a doctor, right? But I was an associate lecturer, right? And then last year, when I was completing my doctorate, my contract ended. And currently, I'm a postdoctoral researcher. So for somebody who is in my level, you view that as a demotion. Because
if you don't understand,
it is a demotion. Like from lecturer to postdoc are visiting researchers, guys. They're not taken seriously. People don't even know about them.
Well, we do. Some of us we do, but
yes. But if you want to stay in academia, particularly, it's important for you to do a postdoc, right? But if you started from like one place and now you're here, you look at it as a demotion, particularly in the moment where you're losing your financial security, because there's a loss of there's a huge, significant loss of finances, right? So if you are looking and judging the situation currently in your emotions for what you see, you forget that there's a bigger picture, right? You forget that there's a plan ahead. Maybe it's not a backset. It's not like we are regressing in life, but it's a setup for something else. And people don't view it like that. Because it's like, how could you say that? Right? But I know that God has a bigger plan.
There's a bigger plan.
He's got a bigger plan.
It's still another cycle. It's gonna come.
Yeah, full moment. It's gonna make sense. And I know that it's gonna make sense one day. Probably not now for me. Probably not now because I'm still going through it. And I don't like to talk about something when I'm still going through it, because sometimes you have a very negative view of it. But I know, guys, Modimo has a bigger plan. Let me tell you what happened. So my contract ends in December, right?
Last year.
Okay. And during when it was ending, I was planning to stay at Wits. I was planning to stay in academia at Wits. So I was like kidding when it was. I knew that my contract was coming to an end. But the thing about it is, if you get your PhD before your contract ends, then you get promoted to a lecturer. So you're no longer an associate lecturer. So I was hoping for a promotion. I was like, I'm gonna submit early, I'm gonna get my results back, and then I'm gonna be promoted. So during the period where it was coming to an end, I was preparing for a promotion. So I was writing my teaching portfolio, my research. I was preparing myself for the promotion.
Married.
Yes, but I never got the chance. But I was applying for funding. I was applying for many things, and this year I got the postdoc to sort of stay in academia. Still, I got the postdoc, and then a few months later, I got this research grant, this fellowship actually, that is funded by the Chancellor of Wits.
That's pretty good.
Yes, so it was like, you know, when you're going through a season of loss, but you're still getting sunlight, you're still getting good things happening to you. And guys, that woman, actually, everybody there, yeah. So good things, even though you're going through something, good things.
There's always good things.
There's always good things happening, and because of the funding that I got from them, I got to go to UK.
Congratulations.
Yes, so no, I already came back. I came back. No, I came back. So there was a conference that I was attending there, and it's a conference in my field, an organic chemistry conference. It was held in Oxford.
But how was the experience?
It was amazing. Travel, guys. Leave South Africa.
That's our well-known accent. I really know South Africans. A week. Or 3 days.
Batung. Batung. Because of the funding that I got from them, I got to attend the conference. So, go conferencing, I presented like a flash talk. Flash talk is like a very short talk. And I presented my work there.
That's pretty dope.
Yes. So,
yeah, it's pretty dope.
No, guys, travel. Leave South Africa. It's amazing.
Because people want to leave South Africa, go to Dubai. That's the only place we know.
Yeah, but travel, see other people, see other cultures. It was nice. It was really nice. It was amazing. It was really amazing. I enjoyed myself. You meet lots of people. You get to interact with lots of. You would be surprised how many people know of South Africa.
Yeah, well.
The TikTok is guys. They're reaching international people.
Know, from South Africa.
And they were asking me if I know how to dance. I'm like, I can't.
Here's the thing about people from.
Not to save my life.
you know, people from other countries, they think that all South Africans can dance.
Constantly busy, got TikTok or doing the moves, guys.
But I got 2 left legs.
Dude. No hand-leg coordination, none whatsoever. Ungari, I'm 2 people dancing.
Because nobody's like that. You be like, Mucho. You know how white people dance.
I have no rhythm, nothing. So, but somebody TikTok that really represents.
But when are you going back to UK?
To visit?
Yeah, like
or to work?
To work, okay. To work or to visit? When you can. You know what?
You know what? I think it will be great exposure, particularly for the field that I'm in, to probably collaborate and work with people in the UK or like get some experience there, because the technology is way advanced.
Yeah, the technology is
way advanced than Rona. I mean, I was there and during the conference, and there was the lady saying, okay, in terms of research, this is what they were doing 10 years ago, and this is currently what they're doing. And I'm looking at the research like, this is what we're doing now.
10 years behind.
So I think it would be for my career, I think it would be great if I get some exposure outside. I think the people I would supervise to, they would get more out of me if I'm open to such experiences. To visit, definitely. I'm going back. I have friends outside. And the invitation has been open since they were there.
Jeez, man.
So yeah, definitely I'm going back to visit. Definitely going back to visit. But I'll visit in summer. I'll visit in their vision of summer. Yes.
And we're not about marriages in summer too. So like, hey.
All the time.
They're like, oh,
I mean, June now. It was, well, July. I went to July. It was summer there.
But your marriages.
I was. Summer got thing is 16 degrees. 16. That's no. I told them that, yeah, you guys have a vision of summer. Yeah. It's too hot. It's too hot. Yeah. I mean, when I was there, they told me they have winter for 9 months. I'm like, 9? Yeah, I wouldn't survive. So when you say, would you go and work? I'm like, the weather.
Going through the whole year with not marriages.
Yeah. Yes. Absolutely.
But you get used to it after a year or so, and then your body's gonna be like,
Yeah, it's quite different from Bona. Their summer is quite different. Like their sun sets very early in the morning, and it sets very late at night. So, like a few days ago, I was talking to the friends I was telling you about. At 8 here, it was like to 9. So Kobona is like to 8. Yeah. So Kobona it's to 8. Yeah. If we are 1 hour apart, so if for here it was to 9, yeah, there it was to 8. You could see the sun. Dark.
No shade on top of that. It's just like, it's dark. There's no electricity.
Yo, one thing I like about them is the transport system.
I heard about it, that it's
that child, there's nothing that I like more than
10 minutes.
But there you can't get lost. The trains, buses, they have Wi-Fi inside, so you can sort of like check where you are. And
Maralita, I'm on the 20 people life. I don't go to film a comrade in the 10 daga.
Do they have taxi? Get taxi to them?
But can't find the 20 Wi-Fi. I can't film a comrade.
Child, yeah, give my cat. I know how to taxi at Sosa, guys. But see, sometimes auto compass in the wrong, and now you're in the wrong taxi. Like, yo, guys, yo, yeah. What is this? Who came up with it?
I didn't want to know who came up with the time, because now I'm like, but when you said taxi, but
who came up with it?
But I get him silent tips. Somewhere in Europe, be like, but now you stop in the car.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that transport system. I think it's brilliant.
It is. It's
brilliant. We should adopt it in South Africa.
Yeah, well,
but I don't think we can. I think it's already there. There's train stations everywhere. So just improving the infrastructure that we have.
Yeah. With actually the right leaders, we can.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
Because at this point, I don't think South Africa is a bad country. I just think we just have bad leaders. That's it.
Not all are bad, guys. Not all are bad.
90%. Actually, 99.
Not all are bad.
One good person.
You know what? I think the person who's probably going to change this country radically in terms of economy is not going to be a politician. I don't think it's going to be a politician. I think it's probably going to be somebody who has not studied politics, but studied a field and understands how to run a country, how business works
in the country.
Yeah.
What deals do you need to make? Do you need to join BRICS? You need to do what? You know, we can achieve it.
It's possible.
It's possible.
But I don't think it's a politician. I think it's honestly somebody else.
Politicians,
Yeah.
they're always thinking about their pockets.
No, it has to be somebody who's a visionary and who has a plan. It doesn't help to have vision without a plan. Somebody who has a plan and somebody who
just
can.
like your favorite president, he has a vision but doesn't have a plan. He's a visionary. He's a dream. He's a dream. It's a big dream.
Guys, let's remember that change doesn't come overnight.
5 years later. Actually, yeah, 5 years later.
Let's remember.
There's a saying that Rome wasn't built in a day.
Exactly.
100 years later, it's still in the same. But I wonder next year on elections, things will change.
How?
I believe so. After the elections, I think we.
Can I ask you something that's very personal? Given the political parties in South Africa, is there one that is worth voting for?
Nah.
You see?
I think.
You see?
No.
The dilemma that we're facing?
They're having the same agenda, but once we a coalition of governments, I think it will be much better.
You think so?
I think so.
I think now
it might be much better, than us having the same party over and over. The party that I'm told 26 years having a parliament, it's all over 90, 80.
Don't you think we are opening ourselves to more corrupt people?
Nah, I think corruption has failed in South Africa.
Now I think if we do away with politicians leading the country and we have experts leading the country, then maybe we might be talking something different, right? Can we have a minister of finance with a finance degree? And I'm not saying hurry, like a person with a finance degree will be a better leader, because I feel like leadership is something different from the subject in itself. But I do believe that the leader has to have knowledge. Has to have knowledge. Yeah, the leader has to have knowledge. Like a CEO has to have some knowledge. But I'm not being screwed over here. Here's an accountant bringing you all these numbers, you don't even know what's happening. There's chances that the accountant will steal from you because you don't know.
What would take 10 million?
Yeah, you know, like can we have people who actually know?
I think if that will work for the country.
Yeah,
that would definitely work. But hey, I'm not saying more than what I mean.
No.
Hey,
Zuma. Like I feel like, remember the time he was reshuffling?
Every weekend. I think it was even conversation about higher.
More than I get
You see, little while you don't know about the Minister of Finance. You can't tell them that this year into $1. What's happening? I think Lena not having enough knowledge, some might have.
Yes, it affects how you lead.
Yeah, because Ogano to Alama. Maranga Semola, I'll cover sharp. And then on the same key. I don't believe that thing. Follow the sign of the tent.
Oh, okay, sign it.
Everybody tired, but you sleep, you wake up,
but one thing I want to say is that the government is not going to get you out of your situation. Like if you're thinking government this, government that, it's not. It's not. Like forget that.
Because I think that's another thing affect even some government to do something. They're not going to do anything.
No, they're not.
As long as but they're not going to do anything.
Yeah, they're not.
And there's too many people. They can't. I'm waiting. The government needs to give us money. Imagine what's up? Dubai. How do you take it to Dubai? So it's
Dubai.
So we can't wait for some of the things we need to do them yourself.
Absolutely. And nobody owes you anything.
Tell that to a South African.
Nobody.
Level of entitlement. The government owes me.
Not your parents. Nobody. Not that rich uncle that you have. Nobody owes you anything. Nobody. It's your life.
On your own.
You're on your own.
If you make poor decisions, you're gonna regret them.
Yo, I say make them.
It depends.
Make the poor decisions.
No, it kind of depends on each level.
Oh,
There's certain level you can't come back
make
for.
them. Oh yeah, that's true. But make them. The thing about it is, I think sometimes we spend too much time not doing anything because we are scared of doing something. So make them. Try and fail. Lega upalwe, you know, lega upalwe. Yes, because with every failure you learn something. You learn something with every failure. Right? And sometimes, guys, you're gonna do the same thing 10 times, hoping for something different. That's me.
But it's always like that. You do the same thing,
hoping for something different. And yes,
but at the end, you
learn something from it. You learn with every failure. You learn something. So lega, guys, lega, the solution might be right under your nose.
And every time when you're like, no, I can't do that. I'm scared.
Yeah.
Because get terrible.
The reason why many people don't do anything is because we talk ourselves out of it. Before you even attempt it, you talk yourself out of it. Yes.
Just imagine if you decide to
like the thing about it is I did.
But you took yourself out of that.
I applied anyways. But I did.
No, because a lot of people they end up.
I applied anyway. Because like when people were saying Utoya Yanko Vets, I had already gone through that myself. Seriously.
Plan, and the plan was there at the time.
The plan, no, it's not plan.
Afterwards,
you apply NS fast and you hope for the best, right? Yes. So that was the plan, honestly. But like it was also that thing of, will they accept me? Why would they accept me? Right? So there are always those. That's the thing. Even now, I have a PhD. I was an associate lecturer at Wits. I still doubt myself, even now.
But not like before.
No, even now, there are moments where it's like. Even now, because like right now I have to build my academic career, right? That would be like the normal trajectory of my life, building this academic career. I have to be an independent researcher, right? All along I was doing other people's researches. It was other people's intellectual property. Now I have to come up with something. What do you think is happening in my head? Exactly. So I don't think you can ever get to the point where you like, I got this, I'm confident. There will always be something saying you're not good enough. But guess what? You are.
Listen to that, yeah.
You are. Like even if you are not confident in it, it's that anyways. Do it anyways. Even if there's fear of failure, not delivering, do it anyways. Do it.
And you're gonna learn from that.
You're gonna learn from that. From that failure, you're gonna learn from it.
Deliver this way, do it this way, then that's it.
Look, Joe, my position, like right now, it was just like back then. I was just worried about me. At the position that I am, it's not just me. If I'm a lecturer, I have students. Their careers that I have to think. I can't just screw it up. So the pressure is even more now.
It's a lot.
It's a lot now. It weighs heavily on me now.
And you also need to make sure, you know what?
Yes.
People are in the right track.
Yes. So there's always gonna be that doubt. Yahori, am I worthy? Am I good enough?
But you do it anyway.
You do it, and you have to learn to do it anyways. You have to learn to try. Fail out. You have to be. I think Will Smith said, "Be comfortable with failure." You have to be comfortable with. I know. Okay. I know. Yeah, but you have to be comfortable with failure. You have to be comfortable with failure.
And work. Continue working.
To work, because when it is the academic sector in itself, it's a series of failures. If you think about it, you fail and fail and fail until you pass.
And you can't just give up.
You can't give up. You can't give up. You can't. And I think the slogan that Mr. Masura had for us when we were in matric, yes you can. Sometimes you have to tell yourself, that thing, yeah, I can't. Be like, yes, I can.
You can do it.
Yes, I can.
I think when anybody
Yes,
stop me, I can do it. Well, that's what I always tell myself.
Yeah, yes, I can. Yes, I can.
And
It's not that move. Yeah, because the moment you say I can, you can. The moment you say I can't.
But also, I think even what we feed our minds, it becomes a thing. Because if you're gonna start being like, hey, I can't,
yeah,
it becomes a problem.
It becomes a huge problem. Yes, because then whatever you tell yourself manifests itself. So if you say I can't, then you're not gonna do it. And then if you're not gonna do it, then you're never gonna achieve anything either way.
Yeah, then 10 years later, you're like, Marangabi.
It's gone.
It's gone.
It's gone. And also learn from your mistakes, but also learn from other people's mistakes. Yeah. It says okay, so what it means is so Sidiba is a pit.
Yeah. Okay.
Right? So if for instance Mwanama is your sibling, so if Mwanama falls into the pit, when you see the pit, go run about it. That's what it means. So don't repeat the same mistakes. Yeah, don't repeat the same mistakes as other people. Learn from people's experiences, learn from people's life stories, and learn.
Yeah, which is great. That's how it's supposed to be. Like, we just need to learn and understand certain things. So you can't do this thing. So it was so.
Yes.
When I pull up in the spot, they be asking what I got. Gas for an extra mile, an extra inch for the dot. When I pull up in the spot, better